Day 1. That's when the doctor said the word terminal. Day 100. That's when I was supposed to die. But here's what they didn't tell me about the last 100 days of someone's life. It's not just about dying. It's about watching everyone around you reveal who they really are when they think you won't be here to remember. My name is Simone, and this is the story of how the last 100 days of my life became the hardest, most painful, and most eye-opening experience I've ever lived through. Stay with me, because what happened between day 1 and day 100 will shock you. I was 42 years old when my body started betraying me. It started small. Fatigue that wouldn't go away, weight loss I couldn't explain, night sweat that left me changing sheets at 3 a.m. I told myself it was stress. I ran a successful catering business in Detroit, employed 15 people, and was raising 2 teenagers alone after my divorce 3 years earlier. But when the pain in my abdomen became unbearable, I finally went to the emergency room on a Tuesday night. The ER doctor ordered scans, then more scans, then a biopsy. By Friday morning, I was sitting in an oncologist's office, listening to words I never thought I'd hear. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer, aggressive, metastasized to your liver. Dr. Patricia Chen was gentle but direct. She showed me images I couldn't fully comprehend, shadows and masses where there should have been healthy tissue. She explained treatment options, survival statistics, and timelines. The average prognosis was 6 to 12 months. With aggressive treatment, maybe 18 months. Without treatment, significantly less. "How long do I have if I do nothing?" I asked, my voice surprisingly steady. She hesitated. 3 to 4 months, maybe 100 days. 100 days. I had 100 days to get my affairs in order. 100 days to say goodbye to my children, Marcus, 17, and Brianna, 14. 100 days to figure out what happens to my business, my home, my life. I left that office in a fog. I sat in my car in the parking garage for 2 hours, unable to turn the key, unable to move. When I finally drove home, I looked at everything differently. The trees lining the street, the houses with their porch lights on, the corner store where I bought milk every week. Everything looked temporary now, like I was already halfway gone. That night, I called my sister, Lauren. She lived in Atlanta with her husband and their perfect life. When I told her the diagnosis, she cried. Then she said something that should have been my first warning. "Well, at least I'll finally have time to rest. You've been working yourself to death for years anyway." I didn't respond. I just hung up and stared at the ceiling, wondering how I was going to tell my children that their mother was dying. I decided to tell Marcus and Brianna on day 16. We sat in the living room, the 3 of us on the couch where we'd watched 1,000 movies, had 1,000 conversations, lived 1,000 ordinary moments that suddenly felt sacred. Brianna cried immediately. Marcus went silent, his jaw tight, his eyes dark with something I couldn't read. After a long silence, he asked, "What about the business?" I explained that I had savings, life insurance, and a plan to sell the catering company to my business partner, Jasmine. The money would go into a trust for their college funds and future. "We'll be okay," I said, trying to sound confident. But over the next few weeks, I realized that okay was relative. Marcus became distant. He stopped coming home for dinner, stayed out late with friends, and when I tried to talk to him, he shut down completely. Brianna clung to me desperately, sleeping in my room most nights, afraid that if she closed her eyes, I'd be gone by morning. And then there was my ex-husband, Terrence. On day 23, he called me. We hadn't spoken in months, not since the divorce was finalized and the custody arrangement was set. But somehow, word had gotten back to him about my diagnosis. "I heard you're sick," he said, his voice cold and businesslike. "I have cancer," I replied flatly. There was a pause. "The kids are going to need stability. I think it's best if they come live with me full-time. You can visit, of course, but you won't be able to take care of them properly." My blood went cold. "Terrence, I'm dying, not dead. I can still take care of my children." "For how long?" he shot back. 3 months? 4? Why put them through watching you deteriorate? Let them remember you healthy." I hung up on him, but his words haunted me. Was he right? Was I being selfish by wanting my children close during my final days? On day 30, I found out that my sister Lauren had been talking to Terrence behind my back. She agreed with him. She thought the kids should move in with their father for their own good. "You're too proud to admit you need help," she said during a tense phone call. "You've always been like this, trying to do everything yourself. But this isn't about you anymore, Simone. It's about Marcus and Brianna." I realized then that everyone around me was already planning my funeral, dividing up my life like I was already gone. On day 45, my business partner Jasmine came to me with the buyout offer we'd discussed, but the number was insultingly low, half of what the business was actually worth. "The market's tough right now," she explained, not meeting my eyes. "And with you gone, clients might leave. I'm taking a risk." I stared at her, this woman I'd worked beside for 8 years, who I'd trusted with everything. "You're taking advantage of the fact that I'm dying," I said quietly. She didn't deny it. She just shrugged. "Business is business, Simone." I told her to leave. That night, I lay in bed, my body aching from the cancer eating away at me, my heart aching from the betrayal of everyone I'd trusted. I had no treatment plan. I'd decided against chemotherapy because the doctors said it would only buy me a few extra months of misery. I wanted whatever time I had left to be quality time with my kids. But my kids were pulling away. My ex-husband was circling like a vulture. My sister had turned against me. My business partner was trying to rob me, and I was running out of time. On day 52, I hit rock bottom. I couldn't get out of bed. The pain was too much, the exhaustion too deep. I called Brianna's name, but she was at school. Marcus was who knows where. I was alone. I lay there for hours, staring at the ceiling, wondering if this was how it would end. Alone, in pain, abandoned by everyone I loved. But then something shifted inside me, a small, fierce voice that said, "No, not like this." If I only had 48 more days, I wasn't going to spend them feeling sorry for myself. I was going to fight. Not for my life. That battle was already lost. But for my dignity, my children's future, and my legacy. On day 73, I hired a lawyer, a fierce woman named Regina Thompson who specialized in family law and estate planning. I told her everything. Terrence's threats, Lauren's betrayal, Jasmine's lowball offer. Regina got to work immediately. She filed for an emergency custody hearing to ensure Terrence couldn't take my kids while I was still alive. She reviewed my business contracts and found a clause that protected me from predatory buyouts. She restructured my will to ensure that even if I died, my children would be protected. On day 85, I confronted Marcus. I found him in his room, headphones on, avoiding me like he'd been doing for weeks. "We need to talk," I said, pulling the headphones off. He looked at me with anger I didn't understand. "About what? About how you're leaving us? About how everything's going to change and there's nothing we can do about it?" And then it hit me. He wasn't distant because he didn't care. He was distant because he cared too much. He was terrified. I sat on his bed and took his hand. "I'm scared too," I admitted. "I'm terrified. But pushing me away won't make this easier. It'll just mean we waste the time we have left." He broke down then, sobbing in my arms like he was a little boy again. We stayed like that for an hour, just holding each other, grieving together. On day 85, the custody hearing happened. Terrence showed up with a lawyer, confident and smug, but Regina destroyed his case. She presented evidence of his minimal involvement in the kids' lives, his inconsistent child support payments, and testimonies from Marcus and Brianna themselves, who told the judge they wanted to stay with me. The judge ruled in my favor. Terrence left the courthouse furious, but defeated. On day 93, something impossible happened. I went in for a routine scan, expecting to see the cancer spreading further. But Dr. Chen's face when she looked at the results was confused. "The tumors, they've shrunk," she said slowly, significantly. I stared at her. "What?" She ordered more tests, a second opinion, a third. By day 97, 5 different doctors had confirmed the same thing. The cancer was in remission. Not gone completely, but regressing in a way that defied medical explanation. We call these spontaneous remissions, Dr. Chen explained. They're rare, but they happen. Your body is fighting back. On day 100, the day I was supposed to die, I woke up in my own bed, alive, surrounded by my children. The last 100 days taught me something I'll never forget. When you're facing death, people show you who they really are. Some will abandon you. Some will try to take advantage. But some, the ones who truly love you, will fight beside you until the very end. I didn't die on day 100. I'm still here, still fighting, still raising my children. The cancer could come back tomorrow, or I might have years left. I don't know. But what I do know is this. I spent 100 days learning how to live, and that's a gift not everyone gets. My name is Simone, and these were the last 100 days of my life that almost destroyed me, but instead, they saved me.